Okay.
Yeah, he
Does-
went to VHB.
Beardsley did VHB twice too.
Then NVTC. Then
Then
he went with Maitre.
Oh, I didn't.
Mitre, Mitre, yeah.
Metro,
Miter.
and then.
That's
ATC.
right. I forgot he went to Miter.
Now we don't.
Glad you can keep track of him.
Yeah, we're now live.
All right, wonderful. We don't have a quorum yet.
Yes.
Do we need?
You only have meeting minutes, which
Yeah.
you can
so
skip
we-
to
we
next
can
month.
Skip. Okay, well, welcome to the May 27th, 2026 Technical Advisory Committee meeting. We do not have a quorum, so we're going to skip the summary notes and action items and go right to Dr. Shree.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, members. Let's get into the presentation. Armand joined remotely, I guess. Yeah. Mr. Sicarelli has joined remotely.
Yep.
But that wouldn't count towards your
Right.
calling for actions. I'm trying to get to the presentation and then I can start.
Clock sticking.
I know. There we go. Good presentation. The one about that. Full screen. Good, thank you. Next slide, please. So the last couple of meetings, we went through the sexual program selection process, all the evaluation criteria, how we do those measurements, and then showed you the results of all those evaluations, quantitative, qualitative evaluations. Just a reminder of all that process. Started with eligibility, whether this project is eligible based on if it is in transaction, it's in Northern Virginia, supported by a governing body resolution, things like that. Went through the three required by the code, three quantitative analysis, which we use models, transportation models to analyze. Condition reduction related to cost, CRRC. By law, we had to give priority to that measure. It's not the only measure we consider, but we have to give priority. Second set of measures, transaction ratings. That's 10 performance measures, which has each one has a weight, and we combine that result. And then long-term benefit, which again by law we have to balance out the benefit of our investments across the region, across the jurisdictions. And then qualitative considerations, a number of them, which are not coming from the model, which we get from either the applications or our understanding of previous funding we gave to various jurisdictions. And finally, the component, final fourth component there is a public comment. That's what I will be talking about today. Next slide. So this is summary of applications. We went through that 27 applications from 8 jurisdictions, 1.2+ billion requests. Next slide. That's a summary of all that. 13 applications from Arlington, 1 to 5 applications from rest of the jurisdictions. By mode, if you look at a lot of those applications are bike-ped projects and transit. So we received a lot more bike-ped projects applications this time compared to previous cycles. Next slide. This is the entirety of all those quantitative, qualitative analysis, everything together in this slide. And we published all this detailed information, CRRC ranking, transaction rating, qualitative measures, everything, including the 2-page description about the project scope, project schedule, cost details, all those factors we had for each project. We had a 2-page note, a project description form that we shared with the public. And that's where all that information was published on our website. And we had a comment period from April 2nd through May 17th. And we had our own social media and all other news outlets we published this opportunity, keep encouraging people to comment. We talked to our jurisdictions partners, and many of them shared this information in their channels. Some, either authority members or other members of various governing bodies, they had their own e-blast that they sent out where they requested public to comment. So we had all these different avenues to get the information out that this comment opportunity is out there and people can comment. We also had a public hearing when people could come and give testimony at the May 14th authority meeting. First, we had the public hearing and then the authority went into their business meeting. That's how we usually do. So we had 20 people giving testimony, most of them coming in person here. Some of them were joining online. Next slide. Here is a summary of all that 45 days of comment period and all the all the outreach we had. The primary method through which people could comment was website. There was a feedback form in our website that they could click and provide comments. And then the public hearing, as I mentioned, there were 20 people commenting at that. We received 5 comments through May. So that's a total of how we received, how many number of commenters were there. If you add up those 3 numbers, 245, 20, and 5, you will not get to 65 because there were duplicates. Some people commented multiple times on the same project, same comment, or some people submitted the comment online and then they came and gave a testimony. So we removed those duplicates to avoid double counting. But when you look at the next column, you see 700 total comments. So 265 people, many of them are commenting on multiple projects. So when we look at each project at the project level, how many comments we received 700 comments. 27 applications. So you can see approximately how the average goes. Next one. We have been doing it for several cycles now, starting with 2014 program. I think probably Chair Boyce is the only one who was here for that program. Subsequently, we had 15-16 program, 17 program, and then the first ever 6-year program, 2018 to 23. And then every 2 years, we are updating that 6-year program. So you can see how we performed on all those programs, how many people commented, how many comments, project level comments we received, and so on. Last cycle and this cycle, you can see approximately similar numbers in terms of how many people are commenting and how many comments we are receiving. Slide. You may not be able to read it on screen, but it's in your print on your table. This is how each project fared in terms of receiving the comments. Supporting comments, there were some people opposing certain projects, and some comments were vague or there were generic comments, not specifically saying I support this project or I oppose this project due to so and so reason. So we couldn't figure out based on the comment, are they supporting or opposing? So we put them into a separate block. But you can see how that in this chart, you can see which projects received the largest number of comments versus less number of comments. So the 2 City of Falsters projects received the most comments, followed by one of the Arlington project, a couple of Arlington projects, one of the Prince William projects. And then on the right end, you can see some of the Prince William projects, Herndon project, another Loudon project, those received the least number of comments, but all the projects received some comments. The darkest blue there is the number of comments that supported the project. Light blue is the number of comments that opposed the project. So for a few projects, you can see maybe 4 or 5 projects, you can see considerable, not considerable, but the light blue bar you can clearly see there. Otherwise, most of the projects, a high number of support there. Even for these projects where you see some opposition, it's not like more opposition than support. I think one of the projects, the Prince William 046 Van Buren project, it's like 26 opposing, 24 supporting. Again, it's not like everyone is opposing the project, the equal number of support and opposition. Next slide. These two maps, they show where the comments are coming from. There's all the comments together, all the 700 project comments together. The left side shows where the comments that are supporting project comes from. As if you remember, there are 13 applications from Arlington, 2 each from Falls Church and Alexandria. So a lot of concentration inside the Beltway. And that is reflected here also. You see a lot of comments coming from the courts inside the Beltway. But then rest of the comments are from relatively closer to the project location. Same thing with opposing comments too. Next slide. There are 3 maps that shows those 3 projects that received the most comments. 2 of the Falls Church projects, and you can see the comments are coming from in and around Falls Church. The third one is Cassis Trail in Arlington. Again, the comments are coming mostly from Arlington, Falls Church area. Next one. Here are the 3 projects that received most of the opposing comments. As I mentioned earlier, the first one here is Van Buren Road North in Prince William. There are 26 comments that are opposing the project, 24 supporting the project, more or less equal there. One thing you may notice in that map is there are comments coming from opposing the project, coming from Arlington, probably Alexandria, and other parts of Prince William. If you look at the map in the middle, that is the Loudoun County project, Route 50 North Collector Road. The project is that star and a line in the middle of the map. There are no comments from anywhere nearby. All the opposing comments are coming from Arlington, Alexandria, or in that core area, and probably one comment from that large zip code you see on the north, near north of Leesburg. So the comments, we have seen these patterns in the past too. These happen when we don't know if obviously they are not living near the project area. They may be working in that area, they may be traveling from other parts of the region to that place. But in general, when we go through the actual comment and read them, many of these comments are generic comments saying that we don't like any of the road projects. This is a road project, and so we count them as opposing this project also. So if they said no road projects, then we go through all the road projects and mark one opposition for all of those. So some of these opposition that you're seeing is comments like that. Next one. In the first slide, I said 4 different components for the selection process. 4th one is the public comment. This is what we have seen. We are still going through the comments to understand what exactly is they supporting, what exactly is their opposition to understand a bit more in terms of why this support or opposition is coming through. We haven't reached to that point. With that, even with that public comment details, wanted to go back and reiterate that by law, we had to give preference to consider condition reduction related to cost. That's why I went back to this slide where you can see how those projects are ranked in that particular criteria. So our starting point for developing recommendations will be this table, but then we consider all the other factors we discussed in the last meeting and now public comments into this recommendation. Yes.
Jumping ahead a little bit to the next slide, it looks like the finance committee says you're likely to have 776 million.
Yeah. Can you go to the next slide, please?
Which would get you down through about project 7 on that list.
Sure. In this slide, you can see that I grayed it out because that already happened, but May 14th action by finance committee, not necessarily approving, they were recommending the authority to approve 775.8 million. Our finance team went through their process of forecasting how much revenue we might have in those 2 years, 2030 and 31, and then splitting it into 70%, 30% regional and local, and then they go through some 25 steps to reach to this particular number. So that's a number Finance Committee recommended. As you said, if you just go by CRRC, we will probably reach the 6th or 7th project and we will run out of money. But that's where all these other factors also come into picture. Finally, the schedule, we just finished last week. We finished that public comment period and we are still going through. We gave you the summary statistics that we saw. We are still going through all the comments and making sure we understand that so that we can take all that into consideration before we start putting together the staff recommendation. We will brief. We are working on a report also, and all the raw comments, everything will be published, and we will send you the link to all that so that you can go through that and read more about the summary report as well as the actual comments if you are interested. We will have all these things presented to the authority at their June meeting on June 11th. The week after is your next meeting, June 17th. Your regular third week this month we shifted it to 4th Wednesday so that we have this information available for you. Next month you will go back to your regular third week, the 3rd Wednesday. We will present you staff recommendations based on all the analysis, public comments, everything whatever we develop, we bring it to you. You can endorse it as is, or if you have, after your discussion, if you think any changes need to be made, to make that changes, and then that you are recommending it to the authority, but it will first go to the PPC, the Planning and Programming Committee, which is a subcommittee of the authority. 5 members of the authority are the members of PPC. They will take staff recommendation, your recommendation, and similar recommendation coming from the other statutory committee, Planning Coordination Advisory Committee, which is made up of elected officials from all the cities, counties, cities, and the 5 largest towns. They met earlier today, just before your meeting, and received the same briefing about public comment. Next meeting, you and they both will receive the same set of briefing in terms of staff recommendations. Your final recommendation to the authority, PCAC's recommendation to the authority, both will go to the PPC. The next day after you meet, they will then bring it to the authority for final decision at the July 9th meeting.
Remind me again, are you, or can the authority, is the authority required to commit the amount of funds that the jurisdiction has requested? Or can they say, we like your project, but we're only going to give you 70% of what you asked for?
Yes, they can say that. They have done that in the past too. Yeah. Two ways. One is that for various technical reasons, staff or committees or authority may say that you requested money for P and right of way, but we, for specific reasons, we are only putting money in P. First finish that, then come back for more. Or we run out of money and then we have enough money to put in P only or one of the phases only. So we may go it that way. So yes, that is possible. Staff level, we may recommend it that way. At the committee level, you may decide to go that way, or the authority can also go.
What are the factors that you take into consideration when deciding that?
When deciding
If
partial
you wanted to
funding,
do- Right, if you only wanted to do partial funding like for PE.
yeah. One is obviously if the money is running out, then you only have certain amount left, and that will only reach to your PE. It will not fill your right of way or construction, things like that. The second is, in the past we have used where they said where the jurisdiction had public comments coming in as a factor, a lot of public opposition, and then when we go through the actual comments, what we hear is that we never had an opportunity to weigh in on what the project is going to do, the scope or design and things like that. So we say, okay, here is the design money. through the design process, you take into all these considerations. Make sure your design reflects the comments that we received or people, whatever concerns people have, then come back. So that, those are the different ways we will look at that.
Just looking at the trend in the public comments, I mean, it seems like over the last 5 years, it's kind of decreased. Is that, do you, maybe first of all, are you satisfied with the level of public comment and the public outreach? Did we just have a spike in COVID and it's kind of dropped since then? Just thoughts on that.
Sure, if you can go back to that chart, previous charts. Keep going. One, yeah, that chart. Yeah. So you see the biggest spike there is 2018-13. That was the first 6-year program we were doing, and we had 62 applications. Now you see about 25, average 25 is what we see now in the last few cycles, but that was the first time there was 1.2+ billion to be allocated. So a lot more projects.
Emotions were high.
Emotions were high, so, and there were a lot of people who wanted the money, so, and as I said, 27 applications versus 62
that.
applications.
Okay.
There's a lot of advertisement too on.
Because it was the first
Yeah,
inaugural 6-year program. We have been doing more now, more publicity now, we have
well,
stronger or more,
I'll rephrase that, the advertising was new
yes.
and, oh, it's this new shiny thing that we can comment on.
Yeah, and that 6-year program was also the first 6-year program based on the in-house updated transaction of long range plan, which was adopted in 2017, and then 2018 we had the 6-year program. So awareness of what NVT is doing was also increased at that time. But yeah, that is primarily that biggest spike you see there.
Okay, thank you.
And probably I have to go ahead and check in 2022-27, you see a higher number of comments, though the number of people commented was not spike there, but the number of comments are high. Again, I had to go back and see what exactly was creating that, but if my memory is correct, we had an online form that was embedded and it was based on an email. So there were groups who made it very easy for their followers to comment. They had to just click a button and an automated comment comes to our box. So that enabled a lot more.
There was more interest in transportation with I-66 Express going on at that time. Beltway was just finished up, so there was a lot more interest in the transportation
Possible. Yeah.
world.
I think that was my last slide about the next schedule where we are. So wanted to give you a high level overview of what we heard from the public, which projects are getting that high support or low support or opposition. As I said, we are still going through all the individual comments to understand what kind of comments are there. If you see opposition to certain projects, what is it? Is it generically saying, I don't like drought project, or I don't like this project because it's going to do this to my life or my travel or my property or whatever it is. So we want to understand that in a little bit more detail, and we will consider that when we start working on the staff recommendations.
Am I remembering correctly that the Cardinal Drive project, or the one down in Prince William, was on the plan, or was proposed last cycle, and it was very controversial? Is that
Not the last cycle, the one before, again, similar level of support and opposition. It was not overwhelmingly opposing or overwhelmingly supporting. But that time they were asking for the several phases, but that's one of the projects where we decided that we heard this, so we are only giving you design money. While you are working on the design, make sure you take into consideration all these concepts.
That project is going right behind a 55 and over development, and the 55 and over community likes the trees. It's not looking forward to a sound wall. So they have a pretty organized opposition. to
So,
the project.
yeah, and the other thing is that
Those whole-
project, there is a cut-through traffic happening in the neighborhood further north. And then people in that community wants this project because that will eliminate that cut-through traffic. So safety, pollution, noise, all those things from their neighborhood will go away. But that will, as Chair Boyce just mentioned, that will put this road in front of another community, not going through it. It's not going to cut through that community, but
Adjacent.
visually, they're going to see another road in front of their community. So that's where the opposition is coming from. Visual, environmentally, they might have to cut through some of the green land, green field, things like that.
Any questions on the presentation here?
So Sicarelli is online? No?
Yes.
Okay, I
I
don't,
saw Monica leaving for her child's game, so I
Yes.
suppose she's not gonna be calling in to give us an update. So Mr. Jasper, you got the reins.
Thank you. The June MBTA meeting will be virtual. And probably brief, due to conflicts for a number of the members that evening. But Teresa already mentioned the pay-go amount of 775.8 has to be approved by MBTA that evening in order for us to be able to make recommendations and ultimately the authority to make a decision on which projects they're going to fund. So that decision will happen at the June authority meeting. Now, as it turns out, the packet for your meeting in June will have to go out before the authority meeting and before the authority has approved that amount. So our recommendations will likely be contingent upon authority action to approve 775.6. So I don't want to second guess what they'll do, but we have to start with something. So the recommendations that we make to you in the packet to you will be conditional upon that, but by the time we actually meet, we'll know what number they approved. So that's the main thing for the June authority meeting. The other thing I'll mention, if I may, is that we have regarding one of the two vacancies on this committee, we have interviewed a number of candidates, and we will be making a recommendation to the authority at their July meeting. We won't do it in June because of the constraints on the meeting that evening. So at their July meeting, they will consider the staff recommendation. We just wanted to update you because I know some of you have been involved in
Is this
helping
a
us.
newer process for?
It is the first time we have gone through a process after a change in our enabling legislation, which was vague as to what as you know, 6 of the 9 members are MBTA nominations and the other 3 are Secretary of Transportation nominees. And we're vacant 1 from each at the moment. So I'm only talking about the one that MBTA can fill. But there was a change in our enabling legislation which clarified that although there are 9 members of this committee and 9 member jurisdictions, there is not a 1-for-1 relationship that says each jurisdiction can nominate someone because MBTA can only nominate 6, not 9. And so there was clarification in the law which basically said that MBTA will, as a body, will decide who's on the committee, and it's not going to be aligned with individual localities, which it never was, but the way it was written made some of our localities say, well, that's my nominee. It's so it only,
When it started, it was way back in the Stone Eyes Bearskin days, but yeah, it's good.
yeah.
This is the first time I've heard that we had interviews.
We felt that it was important to, as part of the, this more holistic process that, since the recommendation was coming from us, that we pick the best candidate based upon a number of factors. And I would say they were all very, very strong candidates. So we probably would be happy with any of them. But, we had to have a fairly rational.
How were the candidates identified?
Through a number of means. We reached out to the RJAC membership. We reached out to the transportation directors. Members of this committee have put names forward. But what we did that was different this time is we reached out to professional associations to see, since you need to be a citizen expert to be on this committee, we needs to be someone with transportation background, and so the professional associations like APA and
ATE and WTS.
WTS and so on. So associations are, that are closely linked to transportation. We reached out to some of the candidates came through that channel. Some didn't, I think, exactly remember how they heard about it, first of all. They may have heard it from multiple sources simultaneously, but and we wanted to spread the net wide, but it was also targeted. So that was the way we did it this time. And Chairboy says that we've not done interviews before. We felt we needed to this time. So there will not be an update on that in June, and depending on what happens at your June meeting, there may not be a TAC meeting in July. So even though the authority will take action in July, you won't actually see the new TAC member until September.
I'm glad the June meeting's virtual, so I'll be.
June is virtual.
The June meeting's virtual.
The June authority meeting is
How about
this meeting. No, we are planning for you.
Okay.
That's, you need a quorum.
We
Yes,
And
that
it's
meeting, we
redundant,
definitely
yeah.
need a quorum.
yes. So of the 7 members that we have, we need 5
Okay.
at least in the room.
There's already one that will be virtual.
Is there a
Well,
chance that
let's-
they-
They have the option.
We have the option. So that hybrid meetings require a quorum in the room.
Right.
But if the decision is made to have a virtual meeting, then obviously no one's in the room, and it's a different math that way. So if and maybe we should poll you all soon
We should.
to confirm this, because you have a certain quota of virtual meetings per year. You've always,
We haven't had
We
any
don't have
virtual
one.
meeting this year.
we've had one.
Yeah.
I think we've had one
This year,
this year, this calendar year.
this calendar year, if my memory is.
Even if we had one, we can have one more.
We can still have one more. We think,
And
yeah.
they
June
cannot
would
be
the one
consecutive.
then, because I won't be in town. I'll be on the road.
Is that an issue, the fact that that's the big vote? Is that
That's why we need a quorum, so.
I know, but I mean, like
We will
normally,
easily-
there's normally a lot of dialogue in that one, correct?
We'll easily get a quorum. You can attend that, right? If it's virtual.
My item isn't at 7,
Right,
which I don't have control over, but yes.
Will you be available?
virtually, yes, I will not be able to be here.
Well, give us a couple of days to work it out, and we'll.
We will send out an email to the
We'll
whole
confirm.
committee, seeing if people can join remotely.
It's another obligation that I needed to hit me today, so.
We'll work it out.
All right.
Thanks for the heads up.
What we do. other discussion items on that? All right, we're done.
Thank you.
I don't even have to vote for us. There's no quorum. Turn out.
We can all just fade into the dark.
You already sign up? Yeah.